Oops. All right. Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Women's Empower Network. I am so excited to have Dee with us today. And Dee, welcome.
Hello there. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. And we're looking forward to getting to know you a little better. So, if you would, to start off, would you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your journey that led you to what you're passionate about today?
Yes, well, I live in the UK and I had quite a difficult time when I was a child. I was very um, quiet and shy and kept everything in, and um, there was lots going on at home and around in life in general. But I was also bullied at school at the same time. So there was so much that I felt I couldn't talk about. Um, and that led me to being getting a going to the doctors by my mum because I couldn't actually use the bathroom very well. And my mum used to give me things like, I don't know if you have it in the US, but she used to give me syrup of figs to help me go to the toilet. And we would have spoonfuls of um, oil. I don't know what it was. This horrible oil that we used to
In,
have to take.
in the
Um,
US, I think we call it castor oil.
Castor oil. That's right. We used to have castor oil. Oh, I
Yeah.
put it on my face now, which is not too bad. It's good for the complexion, but yeah, castor oil. Um, so there was all those kinds of things happening, and then she finally took me to the doctors, and it was revealed that I was being bullied at school, and all of this stuff was going on. And anyway, so the doctor diagnosed me with a nervous tummy. That's what they called IBS at the time.
Right.
Um, and I spent a lot of my life from that point managing the symptoms. So as I grew up, it didn't get any better. Um, and time went on, time went on. I had difficult relationships, choosing the wrong type of people to be in my life, basically, based on, you know, my perceptions of everything else that had gone on when I was younger. Um, and so my stress levels were quite high a lot of the time. And then I became a very young mum. I was a mum at 18. And my my sense of responsibility for this child, this little baby girl, and you know, not kind of conforming to society at the time, kind of having to do the right thing and this, that, and the other. And you can't be unemployed and you've got to work to feed your child and you've got to get a home for this child. And all of the stress being a single parent was really not helping their condition at all. And so as I grew up and went further into things, I started looking at what is actually going on here because my food was getting less and less and less. The things I could eat, things. It's like, well, what am I going to eat now? Dust, there's nothing left. Um, and my children actually sometimes used to come into my fridge when they used to visit, and they'd come in and go, there, my mum's fridge, that's all she eats, dust, there's nothing in here to eat. um, but I found out it was actually my mindset. It was my mindset. It was my stress levels, my belief system, my opinions about my condition, my opinions about myself to control it or to heal myself. All of these things were going on, and still choosing the wrong people to be in my life, still, trying to make and mend and do all the right things, basically. So that's what got me into thinking there's got to be another way. So I ended up going into being a hypnotherapist, a psychotherapist. I got my psychotherapy diploma in 2005. I became a hypnotherapist 2004. Um, and I deliberately chose to work with people with chronic health issues, chronic pain, chronic health, because it's not necessarily about the food. It's about your mindset, your beliefs, your opinions, your and I actually wrote a book in 2011 called Subconscious Medicine, how understanding the connection between the mind and body for pain, for chronic pain. And then rather recently, I actually did I was a co-author in another book, and my chapter was on living without labels. And I call the belief system that our BS that we tell ourselves, because that's exactly what it is. It is the stuff we tell ourselves that is actually untrue. And it's a lot of the limiting beliefs that we hold that will either be, they're just going to cause a lot of problems in our life. And once we unravel those limiting beliefs and actually replace them with something much more positive, then we can see our body starting to heal, because the body holds the score. Our cells actually hold on to stress. And you know, we go for an interview and we're in and out of the toilet before we leave home because our tummies are, you know, anxious, or we're stressed at work and we have a bad shoulders and we have a bad back. And so the weight we're carrying can impact our body. And that's why I do what I do in a very long-winded way.
No, it was perfect. That was beautiful. And I was thinking about, we hear these things about our thoughts control our lives, but it's kind of a leap. Like, how can what I think affect my body? But isn't it kind of like it's the thought that triggers an emotion, that triggers the chemicals, the hormones, and the stress hormones and stuff, and
Yeah,
that's how in effect it affects the body, right?
that's it. That's truly it. And it isn't. It's not to say that people are, you know, their illness is all in their mind. Their condition has a lot of it. There's massive, major psychological and emotional components to pain. And we're not talking about acute pain where you stab your thumb, or you prick your finger, or you stub your toe. It's That's a completely different mechanism in the brain where the pain signals shoot along the peripheral nerves, and you know that there's something wrong. Chronic pain sits in what's called your limbic system, and this is where all your emotions, your beliefs, your perceptions, your level of control, your fight flight mechanism is held. And so that signal can actually get trapped. So when the emergency is gone, it's a little bit like, you know, when your car's got something wrong with it and the emergency light is on, you take it to the garage fixes it, but the light still keeps going on. There's nothing wrong with the car. It's very like that. That's how the brain holds on to these signals. And we have to look at what is a person, what's their circumstances, how are they living, you know, are they in a relationship that's empowering them, that is nurturing them, that is safe? Do they have problems around their level of responsibility to other people, to their job? Are they being pushed and pulled in separate different directions by other people in their lives? Are they being pushed and pulled in different directions by themselves? What perceptions have they built up back through their experiences? And all of this can impact the body, because then we get lots and lots of things. And this, I mean, you might have heard of Louise Hay.
Right.
Yeah. And she wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And she talks very much about the same kind of thing. Is there's an emotional component to this particular condition in your body. She lists the thoughts and the processes, and she also lists what impact and whereabouts in the body that will impact you. And then you're then left to work out for yourself, is where does that ring true for you? How does that ring true for you? And then what can you then do? What steps do you need to take to actually get the support to turn that on its head, and not carry such limiting beliefs, you know?
It
So
is.
it's
I can
brilliant.
testify that in my own personal life, she's my go-to. If I have a physical condition that's shown up, it points me to that area of my life that I need to look at
That's true. Yeah.
and then work on it. And I've had like crippling arthritis in my knees where I could barely walk. And then when I did the work, and to this day, it's like it never happened.
Yeah,
But it was with me for a while, and it's kind of, isn't it kind of like the body is telling you to pay attention?
of course. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I had a conversation the other day with somebody, and it was all about how we've been de-skilled in knowing how to listen to our body. Our body's always speaking to us, and through the medical model that we all live with now, there's a pill for all ills. Take the pill, that'll help. And then we've gone, and generations have gone forward believing that if you've got something wrong with you, you don't listen to the body and say, okay, what's happening in my life right now? What would I need to do? What's this telling me about myself? We go straight to the GP. Well, they do in the UK because we get free at source help here, still here. And you go straight to the GP, they write you a prescription out, you go and get it made up, and you take that medication, and your symptoms subside. However, that medication will not reach the core of what is going on. Medication is symptom management. It doesn't get rid of anything. It's never cured anything, ever. And so we've lost the knack of listening to our bodies, and your body's always talking to you.
I like that perspective and the way that you share that. It is so true. If you haven't questioned, we call it Western medicine here, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's so true that it's a band-aid approach, and it's not dealing with the cause, because isn't our natural state of being our is well-being.
Yes.
And so anything that's not of well-being, where are your thoughts taking you?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And we're frequency as well, aren't we? We're frequency beings. Our brain works on chemicals and electricity. Yeah. So the electrical impulse will send a message, which will then trigger a chemical reaction that then goes to the part of the body that's needed to, you know, relieve the damage or whatever. And so your body will build up mucus to whatever, or it'll build up a fluid. If you've damaged, it'll swell up, and that's a protection. It's not like, oh, my leg's going to fall off. No, it's a protection mechanism to stop any more damage to that area. So it builds up this swelling to protect it until the underneath bit heals, and then the swelling will go down. And so we've got to understand what's exactly is going on, and that's really how it works. And the chemicals in our brain are all hormonal. They're all hormones. So you've got your stress hormone, cortisol, norepinephrine, and you've got lots of others. And then you've got your serotonin and your dopamine. And these chemicals are actually hormones. And so we need to get things in balance. Our body loves being in balance,
Right.
homeostasis. And the best way to do that is what I call it, is using God's medicine, whatever anybody deems God to be. But I just know that we've been created perfectly, and our immune system doesn't need to be injected to work. It needs to be fed the right things and given the right things in order for it to do the job it was intended to do.
That's beautiful. So it's not just the diet of the food we eat, but the diet of the thoughts that we feed it.
Yes, the diet of the thoughts. And I don't believe we can have correct thinking without the correct food, because the minerals, the vitamins, everything that's in our food, that should be in our food, which is getting less and less now because of certain methods of farming and that kind of thing. The soil's depleted, the minerals aren't there. Our food needs to feed us. It doesn't just feed our body, it feeds our brain. If our brain is full of sugars and the wrong types of fat and the wrong types of chemicals, which is now being added to our food so badly, then the body doesn't know how to cope with it. and the mind then doesn't think clearly. And so we really need to be looking at, I call it mood food.
Right?
Eat the right mood food. You know, if your mood is down, what are you missing? What nutrition are you missing? And then your brain will fire in the way that it's meant to fire.
Right. And what I was thinking, what came to mind is like, so if you're feeling tired or low, the first thing is you go for sweets or
Yes.
caffeine to do the pick me up, which is not what you actually need.
Takes you back down again. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The right things to have is proper hydration. Proper hydration is essential for that. And then you need low glycemic food that will keep the balance of the sugars right in your body, the right kind of sugars that we need. I'm not saying sugar's bad. Um, Processed sugars are really bad, but our body still needs an element of glucose. So we need to get that from our food in other ways. And, it can be from good, healthy grains as well as, other things that we eat. Nuts, they're very good. Seeds, very good.
Well, and what I like about you were talking earlier, that you became certified in hypnotherapy and there was another practice, but that so much of this is so unconscious to us. Our thoughts are as close as our breathing that it's hard for us to really realize what it is that we're thinking and the stories we're telling ourselves because they're so repetitive and they're just like noise in the background. So um,
Yeah,
can you tell us a little more about how hypnotherapy can help someone?
right. Well, hypnotherapy is an absolutely fabulous tool. The amount of people I've had come to me and saying, I wish I'd done this first instead of going through everything else, because it is such a powerful tool. And I know a lot of people are still quite suspicious of hypnotherapy. They think that you can be controlled, it's mind control, it's against God, it's this, that, and the other. And actually, we are in hypnosis every single day without realizing it. Every day. In fact, babies and children, are in a constant state of hypnosis. That's why therapists like me go back to childhood. We say, what did you learn? What were you picking up? What were the vibes you were picking up? Because we're like sponges. The brain waves are basically a state of hypnosis. So when you go into sleep, it's a mild hypnosis. When you're waking up, it's a mild hypnosis. When you're concentrating on something and focused, that's hypnosis. When you're angry and you can't get off the anger train, that's hypnosis. You're focused on something and you're focused on a concept or an idea. And that's what a therapist like me helps other people to do through their permission. So you can't do anything against your will if you don't want to do it. So nobody can make you go out and, I can't sit you in front of me and then put you into a state of hypnosis and say, and when you leave here today, you're going to empty your bank account and give it all to me. That wouldn't happen. because because your subconscious's job is to keep you safe. And if something like that was said, you would instantly wake up. So all of these myths that have been spread by TV and films around people like walking like zombies and doing horrible things, it's just not possible. Your brain, your subconscious will definitely not go against your moral compass or do you any harm. So, but that's how it actually works. So we use those brain waves to quieten down the egoic part of your mind that is telling you, but what about this? And what about that? And what if that happens? That's the negabug, I call it. I sometimes call it the Rottweiler as well. it's it's the guard dog
Right.
to your subconscious. Yeah, and so what we have to do is we have to we have to put the guard dog to sleep so that we can get past it and do the good work that's going to help you. And because you're there with my permission, then you will gladly allow that to happen because you want the powerful benefits that you're going to get from the end of it. So nobody would sit in front of me if they didn't want to be there. So there's a huge assumption that they are wanting the results. And there are ways that I can help people to do that. And nobody's going to be hypnotized in the same way. I have various people throughout my years as doing this job, and I never use the same method to put somebody into relax them down into that state, because everyone's got different personalities. So I work with their personality. So yeah, that's how it works. And it's powerful. It's really powerful.
It really is. I'm excited that you do this. And so when we're done with this interview, I want to make sure that everybody knows that if you want to get in touch with Dee or learn more about her services, we'll put her contact information above this interview. I'm just so glad that you've been here, and even though you had a rough journey to get there, I'm so grateful that you found something that is you're passionate about and is very, very beneficial to help people get unstuck in what I call break the loop.
Yes. Oh yes, we I think we need to break the loop more and more as time goes on, because too many people are suffering, especially women, especially the majority of people with IBS, for instance, 65% of them are women.
Wow.
So it's a lot, and they're suffering in silence as well, because it's shameful, embarrassing, and people don't want to talk about it. But it's a safe space, when you're in that space. And if people join, you know, a community, I've got an online. I set this up. I haven't actually started it fully yet, but if you're in a community with people who are all going through the same thing, then you've got support, you've got encouragement, and everybody knows that you can talk about whatever you want to talk about in there.
In a safe place. That's beautiful. And that's so true. So many times we suffer in silence just from it, like you said, from shame and embarrassment and not really knowing where or who to talk to.
Yeah, that's true. It's such a shame, because there is help out there, and there are people that genuinely want to listen and to help you. And it's one of the things that can be sorted pretty rapidly, and then you've got strategies to continue to use as and when, and keep that away. So yeah, it does work well.
Well, that's been beautiful. I've really enjoyed hearing your story today. Is there any parting words of wisdom you'd like to share before we go?
Um, I'd just like to say to people who have got things like IBS, chronic migraines, other associated conditions, there is a way, if you're willing to look at your own emotional and psychological input into that, and to help yourself, then get in touch with me, because there is a solution, there is a way out. And like you said, Ginny, when you looked at your mindset and everything, you've not had the arthritis again. So it is definitely well worth looking into.
It is. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed, talking to you, and letting you know what I do to help people. And yeah, it's been lovely. Thank you very much.